Hello, I am Vanessa Riley. I am a registered nurse, a nurse practitioner, and a technology innovator. But my path into nursing and technology leadership did not follow a straight line. I was originally on the road to becoming an engineer. I was a gamer, a coder, someone who loved systems, logic, and understanding how things worked. Technology made sense to me long before nursing ever did. I attended a technical high school and was selected early for an apprenticeship program. I was doing well, I was focused, and I could see a future forming clearly in front of me. Then my mentor sat me down. He had just experienced layoffs, and he shared something with me that quietly changed everything. It was not dramatic, and it was not discouraging. It was simply honest. He spoke about security, about cycles, about how brilliance alone does not always protect you when systems fail. I remember leaving that conversation carrying a new kind of awareness, one I did not yet have language for. Around that same time, my grandmother became ill. At home, I watched home care nurses provide the same care I was already giving her. I noticed how naturally I stepped into it, how calm I felt, how responsibility did not frighten me. Care did not feel foreign, it felt familiar. I became a licensed practical nurse immediately after high school. I kept going, I learned, I worked, I advanced step by step until I became a nurse practitioner. I began my nursing career in long-term care, a setting that reflects the full spectrum of humanity and socioeconomic reality. Long-term care teaches you that nursing is not episodic, it is longitudinal. You see how decisions made today affect dignity, safety, and quality of life months or even years later. You also see how documentation systems, staffing structures, and technology either support continuity of care or quietly undermine it. From there, I transitioned into acute care, where complexity, urgency, and inequity often collide. In acute settings, nurses and nurse practitioners synthesize vast amounts of information quickly, while caring for patients from every racial, ethnic, cultural, and socioeconomic background. This is where I saw clearly how technology could either support clinical judgment or amplify existing disparities when it was not designed with nursing and patient realities in mind. Throughout my career, I trained and supported bedside nurses and nurse practitioner students, not from a classroom podium, but side by side in real clinical environments. Teaching at the bedside, guiding clinical reasoning, mentoring nurses as they developed judgment, confidence, and accountability. These experiences reinforced something fundamental for me. Lived experience is not separate from expertise. It is part of it. Just weeks before the COVID pandemic began, I joined Transplant Infectious Diseases. There are moments that shape you forever, and that was one of mine. Critically ill patients, high-risk decisions, no margin for error. Those years clarified something I could no longer ignore. Healthcare runs on systems. And when systems fail, nurses carry the weight. Later, in general infectious diseases, I kept seeing the same pattern repeat. Technology was accelerating, decisions were being made quickly. Nurses were expected to adapt without context, without voice, and without influence, even though they were the ones absorbing the risk at the bedside. That is when I returned to my first love and built a technology company. What followed surprised me. Nurses from around the world began reaching out, not casually, but with urgency. They wanted to understand what was coming. They wanted to know how a nurse built an AI company. They wanted to learn before technology was handed to them as another expectation. The volume of those conversations told me something important. This was bigger than one company, bigger than one role, bigger than one voice. That realization is what led me to found the Global Nursing AI Alliance, I founded GNAA because nurses were not consistently present at the tables where decisions about artificial intelligence were being made. I founded it because nursing practice spans long-term care, acute care, primary care, oncology, surgery, mental health, education, informatics, and global health. Yet technology conversations often treated nursing as a single user group rather than a profession shaped by diversity, context, and lived experience. GNAA is a nurse-led global organization built to represent the full spectrum of nursing practice and the full diversity of the nursing workforce. Our divisions reflect where nurses actually work and lead, including long-term care, acute care, primary care, oncology, surgery, mental health and wellness, education and training, informatics, research, and emerging practice areas. Representation matters not as a slogan, but as a reality that directly shapes care. Nurses come from many races, ethnicities, cultures, countries, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Many of us are first-generation college graduates. Many of us have navigated poverty, systemic barriers, immigration, discrimination, or limited access to care, either personally or through our families. These experiences shape how we recognize risk, how we interpret data, how we understand trust, and how we advocate for patients. At GNAA, representation is foundational. We represent nurses who began their careers in long-term care, community clinics, rural hospitals, safety net systems, and under-resourced environments. We represent nurses practicing in high-acuity academic centers and nurses delivering care in settings with limited staffing, limited technology, and constrained budgets. Artificial intelligence does not exist in a vacuum. It reflects the data it is trained on, the assumptions of those who design it, and the environments in which it is deployed. Socioeconomic context matters. A tool that works in a well-resourced system may fail in a setting with staffing shortages, language barriers, or limited digital infrastructure. GNAA ensures these realities are part of the conversation from the beginning. We are an inclusive community by design. Inclusion at GNAA means nurses are welcomed regardless of where they trained, where they practice, or what stage of their career they are in. Bedside nurses, nurse practitioners, nurse leaders, informatics nurses, and nurses exploring new roles all belong here. We value curiosity, integrity, humility, and commitment to patient-centered care. Mentorship is central to our mission. GNAA supports nurses at every career stage as they engage with artificial intelligence. We help nurses understand where AI can responsibly support practice, where boundaries must remain firm, and how to maintain professional accountability. We intentionally create space for nurses from historically underrepresented backgrounds to step into leadership, governance, and thought leadership roles. We also develop nurse-centered guidance for adopting artificial intelligence across nurse-led areas. This includes practical frameworks, ethical guardrails, and scope-aligned use cases tailored to different clinical environments. Our goal is not rapid adoption. Our goal is responsible integration that strengthens care while protecting judgment, equity, and trust. At our core, GNAA operates from a clear principle. Artificial intelligence must adapt to nursing values, not redefine them. Nurses remain accountable for care decisions. Technology should reduce burden, not introduce new risk. It should support equity, not reinforce historical bias. It should enhance access, not weaken human connection. Artificial intelligence will continue to shape healthcare. That is inevitable. What is still being decided is whether nursing helps shape it too. I founded the Global Nursing AI Alliance to ensure that nurses, in all their diversity, lived experience, and expertise, lead the future of artificial intelligence in healthcare together, with integrity, inclusion, and purpose.